Spinning wheel, spinning wheel. Okay, we got 4 check marks. We're waiting for the 5th one here while the producer behind the scenes today gets it up and going. And everybody stall, be patient, la-di-da. Insert quarterback joke. Oh, we got the thumbs up. Okay, Luke, Saturday night. It's all you, buddy. Mile High Insiders.
Saturday night, it's Mile High Insiders. He is Nick Kendell. I am Luke Patterson. Welcome, Broncos country. And it's an exciting Saturday night. We've got a ton of things to get into. But first, Nick, how are you, man? Saturday night here in Broncos country, at least in Denver. Everybody's wondering, where was the snowstorm that we were supposed to get? The grocery stores are empty. Things are ridiculous, and there's no snow. So no snow here, but tons of football that I want to talk to you about.
Every time something like this happens, I always think of Men in Black, whereas like J and K talking is like, a person is smart, but people are dumb, panicky idiots. You know, it's just like stuff like this happens. Everybody freaks out. But beautiful day today in the Pacific Northwest. Did some hiking today and also went to REI. Got some new boots. The wife's birthday on Monday, so it's exciting. We got CC in the house kicking us off here. CC with the curly hair gang.
Hi,
Broncos country. Hope y'all are doing great. CC, we appreciate to see. We also got Gavin Hull with the gangster Drew Lock picture here. Luke tore it up last night. Thanks for watching, Luke. We appreciate that, Gavin. Supporting him supports us, and that's all. That's great.
Thanks, bro.
But yeah, no, it's been a good time. How are you holding up? I heard it's mostly been rain so far.
Yeah, mostly rain, but I'm good, man. And I am excited to be here. Hi, Ernie May saying, hello, Broncos country. Ernie, one of our huge supporters on Facebook. And guys, Before we go too much further, I'm excited, Nick. I'm excited to talk football with you. I'm excited to talk Trey Lance. I'm excited to hear takes from Broncos country because, man, the internet's on fire right now about Trey Lance. And guys, before we go too much further, I want to let you guys know we are the Mile High Insiders. This is at MHI_football pod on Twitter. Now, guys, we're part of Mile High Huddle, so get at Mile High Huddle on Twitter, at Mile High Huddle. Go on over to milehighhuddle.com as well, where our very own Chad Jensen recently wrote an article about Trey Lance's pro day, which one Broncos GM was there in George Paton, as well as a couple other guys. And Nick, we're going to get to that later. But first, before we get to that, guys, we've got to go ahead and get to today's presenting sponsor of today's show, and that is Manscaped. Listen up, fellas. 2020, it was rough. We get it, but it's 2021 now, and that means it's time to embrace that new year, new me mindset, and the best way to start cultivating that is with Manscaped. Now, Manscaped is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming, offering precision engineered tools for your family jewels and helping 2 million men around the world keep their male grooming on point. So guys, look, if you let yourself go in 2020 while in quarantine, we get it. But Manscaped is here for you. They have got your back to reboot and stay clean and shaven in 2021.
Yeah, and I just use one of my favorite products that we've gotten from them, the Manscaped Refined Cologne. I spray it on myself. I like to do that every time we're doing the Manscaped read because it gets me in the right mindset, right? You know, smells can take you to a certain place. Some guys are into smelling salts or whatever. I'm hitting this Manscaped Refined Cologne. It smells great. Also, I did some hiking today. It was not that hot yet. We're getting there, but the crop mop, backcountry, you mentioned earlier, you're a hunter. I like to do backcountry fishing and hiking. So the crop mops, ball wipes, keeping the downstairs clean. You don't want to get that chafing. You don't want to get too dirty down there. That's important. And I know we've been having this, we were kind of joking about it earlier with the ad read, you know, being the new year, new me mindset. We're talking now Selection Sundays tomorrow, right? So we know that there are bracket busters out there, but even worse, ball busters. And you're not going to bust your balls with the Landscape Lawnmower 3.0. They protect you. They got the edge guard on there, and you're going to protect your family jewels because Lord knows if you've ever nicked down there, and I'm a nick, I know about nicks. You don't want to do that. The Landscape 3.0 will protect your family jewels.
Yeah, absolutely. Manscaped has got your back, guys. Bottom line, come out of quarantine well-groomed below the waist with that Lawnmower 3.0 that Nick was talking about. Now, this waterproof and skin-safe trimmer will reduce nicks, hence the word Nick Kendell up in the house, to your 2 little best friends. Now, this 3rd-generation trimmer even has a light to eliminate those hard and awkward spots that are hard to get to, and they will get your back in 2021. Now, Manscaped, they even threw their shed travel bag to keep all your goodies stored comfortably. I'm going to be taking this on vacation here in just another week, and I can't get away from it. I absolutely love it. And speaking of comfort, the Manscaped anti-chafing boxer briefs are also included and are hands down the best underwear that you will ever wear. So guys, 2020 was awful. Make sure that your boys are refreshed and ready for new beginnings in 2021. Embrace that new year, new me mindset, but it's also spring, guys. So feel fresh with Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code HUDDLE at manscaped.com. Your family jewels will thank you.
Yeah, guys, once again, get 20% off and free shipping by using the code HUDDLE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com if you use the code HUDDLE. Happy New Year, happy spring right around the corner. And I know some of you guys maybe are going to get snowed in, but no excuse to leave the downstairs untaken care of. Make sure you check out Manscaped.
Manscaped has got your back. Absolutely love those guys. Appreciate everything they do for us and appreciate you guys, Broncos country. I see you in the stream. Say hello and let us know how you're doing on this Saturday night. And I want to hear about Trey Lance. Let's get to that right away. That's the heart of the matter. It's 6:08. I want to make sure we have plenty of time to talk about this because Nick, the internet is on fire about this North Dakota State quarterback, a quarterback that you've liked for some time. What did you make of his performance specifically at that pro day? And at least three Broncos personnel were there. What did you make of the team being there and how well they were represented at the pro day?
Well, I mean, obviously the Broncos are not sending George Paton and Stork, the head of college scouting, and the quarterback coach, Mike Shula, out there if the Broncos were not going to be checking out Trey Lance. Now, we know that Dylan Raduns is out there, offensive tackle, maybe a guard at the next level, given he has sub 34-inch arm length, and also maybe more of a zone scheme guy where the Broncos actually use more gap stuff. So not the best scheme fit. Broncos are out there for Trey Lance, and make no mistake about it. 20-year-old quarterback coming off of one season at North Dakota State, FCS level. You know, all that stuff scares you, but watching the pro day, it's easy to see the dude is built. You can see on tape, too, he's a different level athlete. I don't care if they're FCS. Those defensive backs that North Dakota State was going against, those guys run 4.5s, and he's blowing past them. And then it's the arm talent. I mean, what a whip. Great arm talent. I was impressed. Obviously, you don't want to take away too much from a pro day. He's thrown against air. But, again, you're showing what a guy can do. And by the looks of it, Trey Lance, from the arm talent perspective, can do it all. He might have the best arm of any of the quarterbacks in this class. And, you know, I know maybe he's going to rub some people the wrong way, but when you talk about his entire tool set, or toolkit, impressive, man. I understand why, despite the limited play, I think he's going to go top 10.
Speaking of top 10, my wife, Gina, the missus, weighing in on MHI. I see you. Hey, I see you, babe. Appreciate you so much. I wouldn't be where I am today without her. So anytime my wife tunes in, I'm going to give her a shout out. What's up? Yeah. Albert Knoppers in the house saying, what's up to MHI on his Saturday night? And we appreciate you guys rocking. Absolutely. He is Nick Kendell. I am Luke Patterson. This is Mile High Insiders. We got John on the ones and twos behind, firing up the super chats with one of our best friends, Muhammad Badri, aka the male model of MHH, Braun and the Smooth Killer, coming in hot. Muhammad coming in hot with that $5 super. Appreciate you so much. And Muhammad, get at us because I want to know your opinion on Trey Lance after that pro day. Because Nick, it's no secret to you, and it should be no secret to Twitter, that I've been very lukewarm on Trey Lance. Haven't really committed to him. I've kind of shied away, but haven't really trashed the guy either. Just a peek behind the curtain, I told you I watched his full pro day right before I came on the air. Now, I watched highlights yesterday and read articles and definitely was in the know, but I wanted to wait just a little bit because, Nick, this is the only thing going on right now. And while I get that he lit it up, he absolutely did, I'm walking away very impressed, so much so that if he does fall to 9, which he won't, the Broncos would seriously have to consider taking him because they just cannot afford to have another Josh Allen scenario. But Nick, this was something. It's the only thing going on right now. He's a very impressive young man. The overreaction is something. Glenn Hauser coming in. You're my favorite, Nick. Happy belated birthday, Glenn. Appreciate you so much. Absolutely. A friend of the show for MHRT. But Nick, I want to kick it off to you real quick. Do you think sometimes we could get just a little bit too high? I saw you posting 1 million gifts yesterday, trolling me a little bit, chirping me, saying, welcome to the Trey Lance train, man. He's impressive. But how excited should we be? it's the only thing going on, man. Talk to me there. Am I a Debbie Downer, or am I just trying to be calm? Because it's the only bit of football we have right now.
I mean, we're about to get a whirlwind, right? Like we're 2 days away from legal tampering period, and then 2 days after that will be open free agency. So, we're about to have a lot of football news. But you're right. I think maybe like Paxton Lynch had a great pro day, right? You saw the arm talent, you saw the tools, and he threw it in. I think it was poor weather in that Memphis pro day as well. And that's only a part of the puzzle. I'd come back to Daniel Jeremiah, who's talked about how well a guy like Lamar Jackson has hit so far, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, and Josh Allen. All these guys have just incredible tools, but also they're some of the hardest workers on their team. They're the first in, last out. I mean, it sounds cliche, but you need your quarterback to be that guy, right? Like we saw that with Peyton. We saw that with Tom Brady. If they don't live, breathe, eat, sleep, shit football, excuse me, but I mean, just like literally it has to be like everything they do, then they might not be the guy, even if they have great talent. And Trey Lance, it's obvious to see that he has the athleticism. He has the frame. He has the arm talent. But what really stands out to me is how people rave about Trey Lance, the person, how much work he's put in, the mental responsibility. I mean, he was making cut-ups for his offensive linemen. He was the guy calling out the mics and calling protections as a 19-year-old first-year starter under center at that. So and that's something Trevor Lawrence isn't doing. That's something Zach Wilson isn't doing. That's something Justin Fields isn't doing. So, I mean, the hype is real. I think you have to understand, though, given the limited amount of passes he's actually made, forget the games, limited amount of passes, because how run-heavy that North Dakota State offense is, there is a large variance of what he could be in this league, right? Boom or bust. But I'm of the opinion when it comes to quarterbacks, I want a boom or bust, right? Like if the guy flames out and is terrible, worst case scenario, you're the Arizona Cardinals from a couple years ago. Guess what? You're picking at the top again and you retake a quarterback. Then you're fine. The worst thing is to be stuck with a middling quarterback and you're like, do we pay him? Do we not pay him? What the heck do we do? Playing with yourself there. Like you don't know what to do. And so I'd rather take a boomer bust guy with those tools if they have the intangibles, the work ethic, everything as well. So Richie Rich, go ahead, Luke. I'll give you this one.
Yeah, no problem. Just wanted to leave this up for just a quick second because I agree with you, Nick. I mean, you've got to swing for the fences. And I know we're football guys and, the home derby. Yeah, the home run and all that kind of stuff, whatever. But you identify a guy, you got to go get him. And if the Broncos fell in love with Trey Lance, I mean, that's something that's possible. George Paton's not just there wasting his time. That's something he doesn't do. Now, I get he's a junkie. He wants to be there. He's a football junkie. But Richie Rich weighing in, and Richie Rich, a friend of the show, MHRT, friends of the show as well. And I'm sure Mundungus Mike's going to be in here chirping us here in a little bit. But Rich, what's going on, buddy? I hope you're doing well. My take on Trey Lance: if we do not think that Drew Lock can elevate himself with the right changes and growth, then we need to go get a guy like Lance. And Richie Ritt's exactly right. Nick, you talked about some of those tangible things that we're seeing right now from the pro day, and that's what we look at when we're evaluating prospects. But when I start to just hear about this man and dig into this man and put my ear to the scouting community hoofbeats on the ground, I'm hearing that this guy is committed. He's dedicated. He is that quarterback that understands that this is a lifestyle and he is willing to get there. He comes from a hard-working blue-collar family from Minnesota. I like it. I absolutely like it. So while these things are being talked about, the fact of the matter is, during this week, once again, we're seeing another Denver Bronco involved in Twitter stuff. And I know Drew's not posting anything and he's kind of gone underground, but there's videos of him, chirping fans and flipping the bird and all this other stuff. And it's like, good Lord, man. So now we got to talk about the immaturity and all that other stuff. Dude, I just want to talk about football, Nick. That's it, man. I just want to talk about football. So to Richie Rich's point, man, if we believe that we need to just bring in competition to push Drew Lock, Drew Lock's probably not that guy, and we need to identify a guy. It could be Trey Lance.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, there was some talk where they were going to see Dylan Ratterns, who we already saw a lot. George Paton didn't see, but they already saw down at the pro day. You saw him down, or not the pro day, the Senior Bowl. Yep. And he was okay down there, but I worry about him being a scheme fit. I mean, he's a solid player, but you're not going to Fargo to go see a day two in potentially interior offensive lineman. You're going to check out the quarterback. There's no doubt about it. And I think it's kind of, it's an easy way to go, but I like to think about it as kind of a relationship status where George Paton is with Drew Lock right now. Like, they're testing. I would say they're like dating, right? Drew Paton came in, but they're definitely not moving in together. And he's definitely not, ready to propose the question. So he's window shopping right now. He's sliding into DMs. He's saying like, Trey Lance, man, he's super smart.
He's sliding into DMs.
Exactly. He's got all the tools. And if I see a chance to upgrade, maybe I'm doing that. They're not fully committed to Drew Lock. That seems obvious at this point. I think if anybody would spin it any differently, they're not reading reality or the tea leaves right now. So let's get to Joey Budke real quick. Cute little kid there in your picture, Joey.
Hi, Joey.
So worried we would be drafting Lock at 2.0 with Lance. Do we have to wait another 2 years for him to develop? I will take this real quick. Just a little point I want to make. I think something about Trey Lance is you probably are giving him somewhat of a redshirt year that first season. And the Broncos are going to bring in a veteran quarterback to this room, regardless of what they do in the first round of the draft. So that's probably what the option would be if you do draft Trey Lance and you see him later in the season. But I don't think it's such a development curve that people are making it out to be. I mean, they put a lot of intellectual responsibilities on his plate at North Dakota State. I mean, he, according to Lance Zierlein, he set his own protections. He operated full field read concepts. He had cut-ups that he was responsible for pressure packages, personnel groupings, red zone tendencies, and 2-minute defenses. So he had a lot on his plate there. Also something I think that we saw with Josh Allen. Josh Allen was major erratic year one, right? Like just struggled for getting the ball, making the reads, et cetera, because he was such a huge athlete and he had arm talent. He was able to go and just make plays. And that's what you can do with Lance. Yep.
I completely agree with you, man. Lance, here's the thing, man. I told you just before the show started. Yeah, like you were talking to me about his arm because that's what is important to a quarterback. It's one of those tools. It's one of the most essential tools. I walked away from this pro day after watching it, and I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to have to watch it again just because I need to understand this quarterback. I'm not super familiar with him, but Nick, I'm walking away super, super impressed, and it makes me excited. I think he's an exciting quarterback, but guys, Trey Lance does not have problems with his footwork at all. He is mechanically sound. One thing that Daniel Jeremiah, I know, was pointing out over and over, and I made note of it as well, was that his footwork just looked so clean, whether that was on the play action type stuff. He can run a pro style offense, operate from under center, the shotgun. Nick, you've talked about these things over and over, and he's demonstrating that at his pro day. What are some negatives that we saw? We saw some overthrows and things like that. Those things are going to happen, but that clean footwork for a guy that size, man, his mechanics, they're technically sound. Drew Lock, mechanics, not technically sound, and we're heading into year 3. Talent, sure. Mechanics, not so much. But before we go too much further, I got to get to Jay. Jaden Torres coming in with a $5 super. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for joining MHI. Jay, appreciate you. What's up, guys? The Chargers released Casey Hayward. What do you guys think about Casey Hayward as a potential fit for the Denver Broncos, specifically at depth? Cheap depth. What do you think about that, Nick? Casey Hayward, Denver Broncos. This league's all about fit. The Broncos are desperate for defensive back help, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think?
The Chargers are going to be running the same scheme that the Broncos are going to be running this year. Obviously, they hired Brandon Staley, former disciple of Vic Fangio. Now they're running that match quarters, cover 6 style defense over in Los Angeles, not San Diego. Still, Brain wants to go there. I don't think he's a fit because of that. I mean, I think he's a press man corner on the boundary, and maybe you could bring him in, but I'm honest. Going through the data, going through who was really good last year based on like how close they were to their targets when a ball was thrown, I think the Broncos are going to spend on a veteran cornerback. I know he had a bad year 2 years ago, but Xavier Rhodes is the one who just keeps coming up aces. He's the fit.
Yeah,
I mean, he's the best fit by far.
I agree. Sign him, ink him, CC as well coming in. I'm a no on Casey Hayward. I would consider Casey Hayward. And that's a very reasonable thought because George Paton saying, look, we're going to be in on every conversation, not just at the quarterback position. So you've got to understand that George Paton is certainly keeping his eye on these things. He's also got his pro scouts. Now, speaking of scouts, we got to understand that I think it was three people per team, right, Nick, were allowed at the pro day. And correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was Broncos general manager George Paton, senior scout Brian Stark, who was also in the running for Broncos GM as well. And then Mike Shula, quarterbacks coach. Those were the 3 that the Broncos sent. Another thing I noticed in the pro day, Mike Shula talking a lot with Trey Lance before the workout started. You've seen Mike Shula talk to Drew Lock at the Missouri Pro Day. What do you think about Mike Shula being there? And what could Mike Shula's impression be of one Trey Lance coming out of this Pro Day? And I'm not going to hold you to it, right? Because we don't know what Mike Shula is thinking. But if you're Mike Shula, you saw his Pro Day, you saw Drew Lock's Pro Day. It's obvious who had the better Pro Day. Which quarterback do you think impressed more?
I think, Trey Lance has more tools than Locke does. Locke does have good arm talent and athleticism, but the footwork, the erratic accuracy, and also with Locke, I don't think it's a want to issue. I think it's sometimes a mental processing issue. I just don't think he has the intellect of a Trey Lance. Now, that doesn't mean he can't end up being a good quarterback. Nobody's saying Brett Favre is a genius, right? But still, like, he could be a solid quarterback. But Trey Lance, he turned down multiple Ivy League offers because he wanted to run the same system that Josh Allen ran, that Carson Wentz ran, went to North Dakota State, was actually recruited as a safety to Minnesota. He actually personally blames the Minnesota head coach for his lack of quarterback recruiting in the just process in general, because he did a visit at Minnesota, and then the coach at Minnesota said, no, you're a safety. And then overnight, every single site said, okay, probably not a quarterback. He's going to be a safety. So, crazy, right? Like, so obvious arm talent. Sometimes guys fall between the cracks. That just kind of is how it is. Steve McNair is somebody that people compare Trey Lance to from a physical skill set. Steve McNair went to Alcorn State. Things happen, but it's really obvious to see the talent and the tools. So who's a better fit, Lance or Fields? This is a good question. I think Fields is probably better day one. And if we're talking Shurmur specifically, I think Fields is probably a slightly better fit. But something I do want to say is Shurmur, if anybody on this Broncos staff is on the hot seat, it's got to be Pat Shurmur. And I'm going to bring it back here for a second. You're talking about Mike Shula being there. Who was Mike Shula's probably best pupil ever? Who was the quarterback that he did the best work with?
Cam Newton.
Record-breaking rookie of the year 2011. Also the offensive coordinator did Cam Newton's MVP season, figuring, hey, this guy's an incredible athlete. He's huge, and he's got a big arm. We can work. We can make that work. Let's raise that average depth of target. Let's be explosive. Let's run a little bit of spread concepts, and let's be a physical offense with that quarterback position as well. Worked pretty well for the Panthers. They obviously didn't win the Super Bowl with Cam Newton, but and I think Trey Lance has got more intangibles than Cam Newton had too. So, there's a lot of things that fit. And if the Broncos, I really like, Benjamin Albright this whole time has been saying, they're not taking a quarterback. They're looking to trade back. Drew Lock's the guy. His tune has changed. He's saying, I don't think they will do that. But if they fall in love with a guy, they might. And that's all we've ever been saying the Broncos need to do, because Drew Lock was not good enough last year to be all in on him. So if they fell in love with Trey Lance, it could happen. It really could happen. We will see what happens, but tune's changing.
It could happen. And one thing that I think is funny, and sometimes we get into it as well, it's a small market in the media market here in Denver. And I know I've had my run-ins, and so have you. And but I just had a beer with Ben, and I know some of you might not believe that, but we actually had a beer together down at the Senior Bowl. And I'm good guys with a lot of the friends at another radio station at the Fan over here. So no, this is all talking just football, right? So
different opinions.
Nothing is ever personal, and that's why we love it. But let's get that back up real quick, John. I want to give our guy with Nick's beer. I got to get Tyler. I got to give Tyler a quick shout out here, but because he's rocking with us, and John's like, give me some time. I'm trying to keep up. Tyler Randall, what's going on, buddy? Appreciate you so much for joining MHI, a very dear friend of the show. I hope you're doing well. Looking slick with that hair, dude. Absolutely love it. A $50 super to Nick's beer fund, because Nick needs it right now. Nick, how is the house hunting going?
Oh my God.
I'm gonna get away. I'm gonna get away just a second from the quarterback spot, because if we're going Nick's beer fund, I'm assuming that Nick needs a lot of beer right now, folks, because he's trying to find a new pad, and it's not easy in today's market, Nick. So how are things going?
We were going to go see a house yesterday. We really like the area, location, beautiful house. Somebody signed the lease before even going to see it. So everybody wants a house right now. We're on the hunt. We got 2 months to figure it out, but at least that's before backpacking hiking season when it's beautiful out here. Although it was beautiful today, but I'm definitely going to need #Nick's Beers Fund for tonight. Definitely Saturday night. Going to enjoy myself. Speaking of enjoying ourselves, Madungus Creevy in the house. Madungus, how you doing?
What's up,
and
Mike?
with the 9th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select #Duffy from Kentucky. The Broncos franchise is now solid for the next 15 years. I'll be completely honest with you. I do not know who Duffy is from Kentucky. I will pivot, though. There is one player on Kentucky that really has my attention, and that is Jamin Davis, linebacker from Kentucky, sideline to sideline speed. There's actually, I mean, it's a deep linebacker class, but there's not these guys that are these obvious athletes that have this length profile that teams are looking for from the second level guys today, especially in zone coverage. The more length you have, the more area you can cover. And Davis also flies. So I really like him a lot. If we're talking anybody from Kentucky, check out Davis, linebacker. So talented.
I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, but I actually know who Duffy is, and it's Max Duffy. He's a punter. Yeah, he's a punter. So, and the only reason I know, I didn't have to look that up. The only reason I know is because Mike was chirping me one day, and he's like, he knows how much I just hate seeing fantasy mock drafts. I just hate them, even though I'm doing them too. So I'm a little bit of a hypocrite. I just hate seeing them. I don't know why, but keep sending them. I hate it. So Mike was like, dude, here we go. I got the situation. And Mundungus is throwing down punter, kicker, specialist. So he clearly has the answer to our draft. Appreciate you so much, Mike, a good friend of the show. But I want to rewind just a little bit because, well, let's get Glenn in the house real quick before we do. Glenn Hauser, $4.99 super. Appreciate you so much, Glenn, and happy belated birthday. These next few weeks are going to be insane. I can't wait to see what Peyton has planned. #Luke's Plow Fund. Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm looking outside right now. It's dark. It's not really gray, but I don't know how much snow we're going to get here in the Mile High City. Things are crazy. The grocery stores are empty. People have lost their minds. There's toilet paper here this time, but bananas and milk and stuff like that. People are going crazy. So I hope everybody in the Mile High City is staying safe, and I hope the rest of you guys are staying safe as we rock away on MHI. We're about 30 minutes in, but Nick, I got to get to a couple comments here. And Richie asked me a question, Rich, and he was asking me a little bit about cornerback depth. Specifically in the later rounds, some smaller corners, potentially slot corners. I like Kerry Vincent Jr. a lot out of LSU. He's a speed demon. I also like Thomas Graham out of Oregon. Loved him out of the Senior Bowl. So a couple cats I think you could get definitely in the later rounds. I like Benjamin St. Just out of Minnesota. He's not a slot corner, but I definitely like him in terms of that cornerback depth. And we could go on, but Nick, I'm seeing some hate. I'm seeing some comments in here. You Drew Lock hater, you. And welcome to the Drew Lock. MHI. He is Nick Kendell. I'm Luke Patterson. But people are saying, Nick, are you calling Drew Lock stupid? No, guys, I'm going to answer this for you real quick. It's not because I need to stick up for you or you can't handle it yourself, but I understand what you're saying. And it's about football acumen, folks. No one is calling Drew Lock stupid, just like no one should be ever calling anyone stupid. We're talking about football terminology, and the fact of the matter is quarterback is one of the hardest positions to play in professional sports. So when Nick is getting after Drew Lock's football acumen, and look, a quarterback could be X's and O's all over the board. A quarterback could lead the film room. It's about how you take that stuff and you transition it and truly install it into an offense, not only in practice, but in the game. Am I right, Nick? I mean, we're not calling Drew Lock a dummy. He's not a dummy. He's a very smart young man. But taking it to the field from the board and just going out there and relying on your old school game are two different things.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, and just being completely honest, Lock's intelligence and football acumen was a question for him coming out of the draft as well. I mean, that's a big reason that a lot of people preferred Daniel Jones coming out of Duke. People thought that he had a much better mental processor and was able to read the field much quicker and do much more from the verbiage side of things, calling an offense. So I still think that, I mean, Locke has played in multiple different offenses year after year. That's a legitimate thing. But it's, I mean, 2 years struggling, a lot of this similar issues year after year. You know, at some point you got to be like, okay, well, what's going on here? So we will see what happens. That George coming in here, I hope he fixes his mechanics and stops making dumb decisions. Honestly, that's my biggest thing with Drew Lock. Yeah, let's say he still has one of the worst completion percentage over expected of any quarterback in the NFL. That was an issue in college as well, and that's formulated by like the average completion percentage where the depth of target is, and Lock consistently is one of the worst compared to what the league averages. If he's always going to be an inaccurate quarterback, I think he has enough arm talent and athleticism to get by. It's the stupid decisions with the football, putting the ball in harm's way and hurting the defense. You and I definitely differ as far as Vic Fangio and his value. And I have a really hard time, the 10th race defense when it should be better than that. Well, it's really hard to feel a good defense when the offense is consistently putting the ball in harm's way, giving the other team the ball in plus territory and making them be on the field longer as well. So I just have a really hard time with that. And that's something also coming back to Trey Lance, doesn't put the ball in harm's way, almost sometimes to a detriment, right? Like you want to see him be you got to be a guy and squeeze that ball in there. Trey Lance doesn't do that. It's almost kind of a Colin Kaepernick kind of thing where the arm talent is huge. The athleticism is great. If there's something not there, he's going to pull it down and try to go 10, 15 yards. And that was Vic Fangio's best year as a defensive coordinator. The quarterback was Colin Kaepernick. So there's something to be said about protecting the football. And that is honestly my biggest gripe with Drew Lock right now. You cannot be so stupid with the football. That you can't. Not in today's NFL. It's not the 1990s anymore. Teams are not turning the ball over like they used to.
And Drew Lock is on the hot seat. He knows it. He's over there. He's working hard. And look, I'm so sick of the Tim Patrick arguments, man. Like, it's a backhanded compliment. No, it's not. Stop trying to put words in his mouth. Dude, who cares, man? We could analyze this all day. It's just words, man. And that's all we're hearing right now is words. And I want to see it with Drew Lock. And I hope that I do. Nick, you and I have also said that he's salvageable. So I'm really, really curious to figure out what he's going to look like if he's still in a Broncos uniform, because we do know that he's being shopped. But Mundungus Creevy, our good buddy Mike, coming in with a $9.99 super. Appreciate you so much, Mike. Unless Trey Lance is available, I still think that Denver should trade back into the middle of the first round and grab an offensive tackle. The Raiders and the Chiefs don't care about their offensive line, but Denver should. Mike, of course, referencing that the Raiders just sent, Trent Brown back to his home.
And Richie Incognito was left as well.
Yep, in New England, they cut Richie Incognito, and then obviously you've got Schwartz and Fisher getting the axe out of the Kansas City Chiefs. So what do you think with Mundungus's theory there? I've heard tons of theories, and so have you, and I know you've written a few articles about it, and I've been sticking towards the, I just wrote an article about Micah Parsons. Daniel Jeremiah thinks that Vic Fangio fits with Micah Parsons. It was basically, it wasn't a mock draft. It was more like which player fits with the head coach and the team. So those comparisons, they make sense. But what do you think about an offensive tackle like Mike was suggesting if the Denver Broncos trade back? Right tackle? It's the biggest question on the team right now.
I really don't have any issue with it if it's the proper player, position, value, etc. When the Broncos trade back, I really, really like Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech. Sometimes there is a little bit of concern with his motor, snap to snap, but I mean, he's got amazing tools. He's got such strong hands. I also really like Tevin Jenkins. Now he does have sub 34-inch arms. I'm not sure specifically what it is, but that is a worry. But man, he is so powerful to the point of attack, so strong. And offensive line, offensive tackle especially, it's an investment position. Right, you're like who you're drafting this year. Oh, they already are paying Garrett Bowles and Jawan James. First off, are we going to see Jawan James on the field? I'll believe it when I see it. Is he going to get injured again? Even if they have him, you want to make sure you're fortifying that position because that rookie guy, it's going to be up and down. Rookie tackles are not great year one. You shouldn't be dependent on. Most positions are not great year one unless they're like a running back. But if you're trading back and getting an offensive tackle there, really investing in that offensive line, and giving Mike Munchak some marble instead of some backyard clay to work with on that tackle position. I mean, I don't think it's a bad strategy at all. It really depends though on how the board falls, right? Like you need to be flexible. My biggest gripe with fan perception when it comes to the draft is they get pigeonholed onto one singular position. You need to have like 4 or 5 multiple directions you can go. And that gives you the best chance to get the best value when you are on the clock.
Absolutely. You got to figure out who you like, what the positions and needs are, and swing. You can't be afraid. And you know what? If moving back gets you some draft capital and you think your guy's still there, then go for it. There's also the ability that no one's talking about, Nick, and I know you think about it, but not a lot of people are talking about it. There's the ability to trade back up as well. And we just had, one of our friends, I don't know if we can get it back up right now, and I'm spacing on the name, so apologize, brother, but there was the suggestion of trading up. Look, Nick, Clifton Harris, appreciate you. Clifton Harris is saying, look, man, I don't want to trade back. I want to trade up. I hear you, Cliff, and look, if the Broncos want a quarterback not named Mac Jones, they're going to have to trade up. That's just plain and simple. Nick, I do not ever, 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 ever see Trey Lance falling past 5, let alone getting to 9 to the Denver Broncos. There's just no way for me, man. I refuse to even think that that's a possibility. If the Broncos want him, they got to go up.
Yeah, I think that it does seem interesting to me because I think Justin Fields is a pretty good prospect. He's extremely accurate with the football. He pushes the ball vertically very well. He's a good athlete. He doesn't have the arm talent of Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, or Trey Lance, a pure arm talent, but it's definitely good enough. And he seems to be the 4th quarterback right now in this pecking order. So that's really shocking. But there are so many teams that are wanting to quarterback and get up. If you want one specifically, and I think as much as this might make some people sad, obviously Trevor Lawrence is off the board. He's going number 1. I think we need to start thinking about Zach Wilson that way as well to number 2. He is going to the Jets at number 2. That just, I mean, things can change, but I think right now there's just way too much smoke with that connection. So thanks, Clifton, also. So if you like Trey Lance or Justin Fields enough, you need to be calling 3, 4, 5, 6, and trying to get up there because other teams, the 49ers, obviously the Panthers are going to be interested. Maybe the Patriots. I mean, so we will see. Maybe the Eagles at 6 too. I mean, Jalen Hurts. Guess what, guys? 2nd round quarterbacks, teams that's just a lottery ticket for the quarterback position. I know people hate to hear that, but how many non-day 1 quarterbacks are good quarterbacks in the league right now? Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Derek Carr. Maybe that's it. I can't even think of any other ones. So it's a 1st round position. If you like a guy, you got to go up and get him. We got Glenn in the house though. What do you guys think about Calvin Anderson at right tackle if James flames out? I will say I hope for the best, but I also hope that we don't see it because I think Calvin Anderson is a backup left tackle. Maybe he can figure out it right, but he struggled there compared to left. And I just think he's a little stiff. I don't think he's the type of athlete that you want for that tackle position. And don't tag him on Twitter because I know he's very active on Twitter and he will get upset at me and block me. But you don't want to be in that position.
Oh yeah, no, not a Calvin Anderson hater. Nick Kendell is not. No, I agree, man. It's so hard to change sides at tackle too. I mean, guard, it's going to be hard, but doable tackle, that's really tough. And it's, something I talk to my guy Orlando Franklin about all the time. And he was moved all over those Broncos offensive lines from right to left and even some guard work and then left tackle for a few games. And it's just absolutely crazy. But I will give I'll give Anderson his due, man. He I think has a more probability of being on the field, a higher probability of being on the field than James. So we'll let her rip. We'll let her rip there. But what's up, Bob Skinner? I see you on my MHI on your Saturday night, Broncos country. Hey, Bob, a good friend of the show, wearing a Let 'em Hate shirt. And right now, I think it'd be a good opportunity to let you guys know you can get your swag on and go to huddleuppod.com. You can grab a hat like Nick is wearing or a t-shirt like I am wearing. We've got mugs. We've got gators. Absolutely love the gator. Tons of t-shirts, man. Tons of great hats. You can get another hat from Building the Broncos, which is of course Carl and Nick's show on Tuesday night. Another great set of podcasts, the Dove Valley Deep Divers, as well as the Huddle Up Pod and MHI as well. There's a Building the Broncos hat for you right there. So guys, go check it out and get your swag on. And here we go. John's getting after me saying, Luke, we're not supposed to be doing these in the middle of the podcast. So I'm going to embarrass John a little bit. John's yelling at me saying, stop it. Stop it. So I'm going to get after. Yeah, I'll get after John. Leave me be. I'm just trying to press buttons. And I know it drives you crazy, but Mundungus, speaking of driving everyone crazy, Mundungus in the house. Appreciate you so much, brother. $4.99 super. What do you guys think of the strategy of Denver signing every available tackle so that Kansas City can't sign any? I think what Mike is getting at here is what were the Chiefs thinking? What do you interpret that as? Pat Mahomes obviously reworking his deal a little bit to sure up some cap room, just like one Tom Brady. But what are the Chiefs thinking right now, Nick? I mean, are they going to go? Is this a tackle? Is there a great free agent tackle out there that they're going to land? I mean, are they going to go draft 2 tackles that are going to be starting? I mean, what are they going to do?
I could see them bringing in somebody cheap. I think that the Chiefs are in a position, unfortunately, with a small cap season where a lot of players are going to look to go get a ring, and they think that the Chiefs will have a good shot. So maybe somebody like a Riley Reef, closer to the end of his career, would go there for much cheaper than what you'd get for both Schwartz, who was injured almost all of last year, and what you'd also see with Fisher, who was tore his Achilles, I think, in the AFC Championship game. So it's definitely the Chiefs are vulnerable right now, and this is a big reason why I was so against the Clyde Edwards-Helaire pick last year. Like taking a running back, I get that the Chiefs were a Super Bowl contender, and a running back can help you take you even a little bit farther, but like tackle depth, edge, pass rush depth, cornerback depth, you're picking at the end of the first round. Like those are the areas where you need to be investing in, and then you're not in this position that you are right now, where you are scary thin on the offensive line with the most valuable resource in football, very, very unprotected. We got Joshua Shadow coming in here with the $10 super. Thank you very much, Joshua, over on YouTube. Peyton didn't find it necessary to attend the Senior Bowl, but he was front and center for the Trey Lance Pro Day, not Pro Bowl, Pro Day. That speaks volumes about what he's going to do. IMO. I mean, I think it was James Palmer who said that it is specifically Peyton likes to go see front and center the quarterback workouts live, because it's not just you can't really evaluate the arm talent. It's even hard to do over the TV. You have to be able to see it live, see the ball come out from your own eyes, and being able to rank those against other guys you've seen live. And it's also the interaction with the teammates, the coaching staff, the other coaches, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, you're watching these guys the whole time, even doing something minute, like going up to talking to their family or, anybody else there, like the body language, how they interact. I mean, they're breaking this down to an insane level, maybe too insane. But I think it definitely shows, in the very least, the Broncos are putting in the work in this quarterback class. And if they love a guy, they're going to see about the price of getting up. Now, that doesn't mean that they will come to a price that they agree with. And if they have to fall back on the $2 million a year Drew Lock, who's got 2 years left of control, and a veteran, that's not the worst position to be. Like the Bears are in a terrible situation. The Washington football team's in. I'm always going to mess that up for years. Washington football team's in a terrible situation. Jimmy Garoppolo, like paying bad quarterback or mediocre quarterbacks big money. That's a bad situation. Broncos are not in that type of situation, but they are picking at 9. There are 4 extremely athletic arm talent quarterbacks in this class. And if there's one there that you like, you have to think about go getting them. The quarterback is that important of a position.
Josh, I love this question. I absolutely love this, or this comment rather, because I'm still bitter about Peyton not going to the Senior Bowl, because it was the last chance of meaningful football to really see. I mean, we're in the underwear Olympics of things right now because the combine's not going down, but these pro days are very important. I see half of the people on Twitter saying, "Oh, these things don't matter. There's no pass rusher in his face." These things matter. Otherwise, scouts wouldn't be there. GMs wouldn't be there. The players wouldn't be doing it. These things absolutely matter. But, where I take exception with Peyton is we had to hear that he had to stay back and get to know the staff and meet everybody and blah, 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 blah. I still don't know who his number 2 is, Nick. Who is his right-hand man? I don't think that was ever hired. I have no clue what's going on there.
I think it might be Vic.
Yeah, because Vic cares that much.
I put an application. I just haven't heard back yet.
Yeah, unless it's about defense. But man, like, what are they doing, dude? Like, Mike Kliss reported on Thursday that George Paton and Von Miller's agent hadn't even talked. And then George Paton's getting on a plane to go watch a pro day, and we don't know what's going to go on with Von Miller. So, I'm wondering what's going on here. Why aren't we hearing anything from the Broncos? And while I like that George Paton is playing his draft cards very close to the vest, I don't like that it's going down to like the 11th hour or, the 0 hour to figure out what's going on with Kareem Jackson, Von Miller. I know you're looking at your phone. I'm looking at my phone as the pod's going too, because breaking news could come any second. That legal tampering period is this week. The 17th marks free agency. We got to figure out what's going on with these players. Nick, I'm just going to ask you right away. What do you think, real quick, before we get to some of these comments on our last segment here? What do you think about Von Miller? What do you think about Kareem Jackson? What do you project to happen to each of these Broncos, specifically Super Bowl 50 MVP and Kareem Jackson, who's been laying the wood, a huge leader, KJack TV, a fan favorite? What is the future of these two Broncos players in Denver?
I had been hopeful that they would both be back, but as time moves on, and as you say, they haven't even been in contact yet, I think the Broncos are going to give them, like, here's the offer, take it or leave it. I think both are going to say, I think I'll take my talents elsewhere, and I think they'll be on the free agency market. But we'll see. I have hopes other ways, but we'll see. We got Paul coming in here. A great pod, get Lance, hashtag Nick's Crib Fund, hashtag Luke Waves Rock. So that's a good one.
I appreciate that, Paul. Appreciate you so much, man. I appreciate all of you guys on the
Yeah.
stream. Keep these takes coming. And guys, you don't have, we appreciate the supers, but I love seeing just the comments as well. So we
Yeah,
try to get to
absolutely.
everybody, and I try not to step on John's toes because I love to click. I
Yeah.
just like to click on all these comments, man. So I'm
And
driving.
I want to get to this one real quick.
Yeah,
Alamo
do
on
it,
the
do it.
rise on what is that? That's the Twitter one. I can't think of what platform that is. But anyway, do Broncos brass tend to work out to simply light a fire under lock? That's some 5D chess that's not being played, guys. Like there's a limited amount of time. They're getting ready for free agency right now. The Broncos aren't signing these big decision makers in the front office and offensive coaching staff if they weren't going to go check out Trey Lance. I mean, they could just say like, oh yeah, we'll definitely take a quarterback. I mean, there's enough information out there right now. If Locke needs this little bit going to Fargo to be had to have a fire lit under him, then we have other problems. So that's definitely not what's going on here.
Yeah, I don't really care if Locke is mad. I don't really care. He should be mad.
Play better.
But yeah, play better. I mean, you should be mad. And I want to see what a Drew Lock mad looks like, and maybe we will, maybe we won't. With regards to him flipping off the fans, I don't really care. I don't really care about that either. I care about football. I mean, it
wouldn't be a big deal if he was playing good.
I mean, he shouldn't have done it. Like, definitely, yeah. But I'm not gonna spend my whole day worrying about Drew Lock dancing, rapping, the Colin Cowherd stuff. We've talked about all that. I mean, it's just so old. It's played out. It's low hanging fruit. It's old news that just resurfaced because of a fan's video. So, there's bigger fish to fry, like Melvin Gordon getting off of a DUI, for Lord's sake. You want to talk about drama? We can talk about drama like that. But, as we just go on here and kind of finish up, I see Kenneth Booker, one of our own, in the house. What's up, Kenneth? Kenneth has been putting in that work. I see you, buddy, at milehighhuddle.com. Be sure to go check out Kenneth's work. I love it. Sent him a private message the other day. He has been absolutely crushing it. A great addition to the staff, guys. Be sure to head on over to milehighhuddle.com, where you can go ahead and check out all of the best content for Broncos country. So Robert Caslow, a friend of the show, is coming in here saying too, look, man, Drew Lock, play better. It's that simple. Play better. It's that simple. And if Drew Lock had played better, then he wouldn't be in the position that he's in right now. George Paton being up there is not just a smoke screen. I saw Chad, our very own, fearless leader, writing an article, and he had retweeted his article saying, look, this isn't smoke. This is fire. You bet the Broncos are on the quarterback hunt. The Deshaun Watson thing, we can't just put all our eggs in that basket. And I know Easter's coming up, but you can't just put all the eggs in that basket and hope it's going to work out. You have got to go evaluate these players. You've got to evaluate quarterback. And there were only 2 teams missing. I know the Texans were one of them. I'm not sure if we know the other, but
there are only 9 general managers.
Yeah. But I mean, I would be really upset if he wasn't there, if we're going to be completely honest. But Mundungus Gravy coming in with a 499 super. Do you guys think it's lack of drive, a loss of passion for the game, or just being a lazy pile as to why the hashtag near spokesmodel sits more than he plays? And that's that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. Mike, you're a killer, man, an absolute killer. But we gotta clean this up, baby. We gotta clean it up just a little bit. And Mike, I love you, a friend of MHRT, and I see the MHRT crew in the house. I'm hoping I'm not in hot water with the boss man there. But Mike, we appreciate you, buddy. I just got to clean it up just a little bit. You guys are the best, and we're going to keep it rolling. But I
don't have any issue with him backing out last year. He had the newborn, et cetera, but he's going to have to prove it to his teammates and the team and the fan base that he wants to play and be here after his history, after his contract, missing years in Miami, et cetera. There's a lot of interesting situation there. Again, that's another one. Play better. If he's upset that people don't trust him, go out on the field and play better. Or play at all. But
I know that he is expected back in March to work out. That's what Vic Fangio told us at the press conference with George Paton. So that's going to be the first domino to fall, right? So we gotta just keep in mind, guys. And I hate to play housekeeper and be that get off my lawn guy moment, but we gotta clean it up, man. We love talking sports, but we gotta stay away from those personal stuff with those guys because we try to keep it professional. I'm cool with having fun. We could poke fun at Juwan James for a lot of things, but we just got to clean it up. And if we're being honest, Nick, like I want Jawan James to work out. I want him
Yeah.
to do well because it would suck if the Broncos had to get rid of him and then pay him. I mean, I'm sick of the Broncos getting rid of coaches and still paying them, and now Vance Joseph has landed a huge jackpot in grabbing Watt. So, he's, I think, going to be in the running for another head coaching job eventually. So, I mean, like, it's interesting, man. It's interesting how the pendulum swings in the NFL.
I mean, you're absolutely right. And we got Charlie Beagle coming in here. I think people are a bit trigger happy, and he's talking with the quarterback position because of Mahomes and Herbert having instant success. I mean, it's not just Mahomes and Herbert, though. I mean, Lamar Jackson came in pretty good immediately. Baker Mayfield came in pretty good immediately. Joe Burrow looked really good this season pretty darn quickly. Deshaun Watson came in, looked really good immediately. I mean, it's never been a better time for quarterbacks to come in and play immediately and play well. I mean, it's because these guys are throwing the ball around the yard. There's summer leagues these days. There's like what is it, the 7-on-7s, all these camps. Quarterbacks are not as raw as they were 10, 15 years ago, and they're expected to come in. Also, the offenses have been simplified. The reads have been simplified because they're leaning more on the arm talent, the traits, some athleticism, as far as just, being able to read multiple defenses, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that it's something to be said about it's not just being trigger happy, it's the reality of it. And the point further I want to make here is it's that rookie quarterback contract window, right? Like that's a big thing with Trey Lance and any of these quarterbacks in this class, right? The Broncos offense right now, really young, has a chance to get pretty expensive in a hurry, especially with these guys coming. Cortland Sutton's going to have to get paid here soon. Bradley Chubb's going to have to get paid here soon. Garrett Bowles has a very good cap hit this year, but it balloons after that. Dalton Reisner is another one. I mean, that's a big issue. And you only have 2 years left of Drew Lock cost controlled. And he has not played like a guy you want to pay right now. And if he just, let's say a bottom 5 quarterback last year. Let's say he becomes like the 17th best quarterback the year after that. Are you going to pay him? That's probably getting $25 million a year, as scary as that sounds. And then you lose all these other guys. Or you can reset that quarterback contract 5 years by going with a rookie quarterback this year. And then you can pay different guys and totally change how the salary cap is structured because you have a cost-controlled rookie quarterback. So it's something to discuss. It's something to think about because 2 years versus 5 years, considering the first 2 years for Locke were already washed and you only have 2 years left to figure out what he is. It's math.
It's math. I love it. And it's math, folks. And speaking of math, guys, be sure to check out Building the Broncos from last week. I just checked your guys' pod out the other day, man. When I was driving down the road, I was listening, and you guys had our professor on, Bob Morris, one who knows the math very, very well. But we got Glenn Hauser coming in with a $4.99 super. Appreciate you so much, Glenn. Who is each of your dream starting quarterback for the Broncos next season? So I'm going to answer this real quick for draft-wise. Zach Wilson is my favorite quarterback, not named Trevor Lawrence, obviously, in this draft. I can't wait to see what his pro day is going to look like. I think he's going to have he's a different quarterback. Yeah. Right. They're different guys, but I think he's going to have a ton of excitement coming out of that pro day as well. And Alabama's going to be having 2 pro days because they have so many players. So I know Mac Jones is going to be throwing twice, and stuff like that. But you're going to see these teams and these quarterbacks rise. So for me, it's Zach Wilson. I absolutely love him. I don't mind Mac Jones. And I walked away from the Senior Bowl saying he's a first-round quarterback. Heck, he could be a top 15 pick. And he has the potential to do that, but it is way, way, way too rich for me. I mean, maybe if you're at 32, if it's a second round, you have already got a second-round quarterback. I don't see the point of going there. But if you love a quarterback, go get him. I don't love Mac Jones. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, Nick, I don't know if it's just fool's gold or just foolhardiness, but I really hope that Deshaun Watson could come to the Broncos. I don't know what the probability of it is. You saw that crazy interview that the Texans gave and threw their guy under the bus. But, man, I like Deshaun Watson and Zach Wilson. What say you to Glenn Hauser? Who is your dream starting quarterback for the Broncos next season? I'll give you 2 categories, a draft and a free agent or a trade.
I mean, Deshaun Watson's obviously the easiest one, right? Like he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now. And when you talk about his age, he's a top 3, probably top 2 valued commodity in the NFL. The only guy who probably has more value is Patrick Mahomes. And I've said this from the beginning. I watch these quarterbacks. I'm not just now getting to the quarterback prospects. I've been watching these guys all year. And I've said from the beginning, I think Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance are all extremely talented guys that if you have a shot to get and you have any questions at the quarterback, they are worth a roll of the dice. Now, does that mean they're going to hit? it's the NFL draft. Things happen, but it's I would be willing to take a shot on any of them and feel good about it. And guess what? If they've flamed out, you go back. Are the Jets screwed for the next 10 years because they missed out on Sam Darnold? They have 2 first-round picks this year. They're going to get a first-round pick. They're going to get a quarterback at Zach Wilson. They're going to be able to trade Sam Darnold for a second or third-round pick. Like they missed on Sam Darnold, and there's reasons for that. We can get into that another time maybe. But really, you're not screwed if you miss on a rookie quarterback. It's the way the contracts are set up right now. So if you see a guy that you like, don't be afraid to go get him, right? Like Bruce Arians, no risk it, no biscuit.
I love it.
Same with the quarterback.
I love it. People are out there and they're letting us know via Facebook. Watson isn't very realistic though. Why not? Why not? They said they literally came out and said he's our quarterback right now. So the way things are going, man, Deshaun Watson, sooner or later, he's gone. We just don't know when that's going to happen. So it's hard to say. And guys, I see you out there saying this team needs a lot more than quarterback. And you're exactly right. Nick, I would be happy with a cornerback. I would be happy with a line. I would be happy with a lot of things because this team is so far away from where they need to be. And that's the fact of the matter. But to your point, Nick, quarterback's the most important position in all of sports. So if you fall in love with a guy, go get him. I'm going to give you a little pushback, though, real quick. Surtain is a no-go from George. Well, dude, that's fine. That might be a personal preference thing, but you must be a Farley guy, and that's okay. But I'll tell you what, I'm a Farley, Surtain, JC Horn guy. I like all 3 of them in the first round, Nick. Give me a corner because we need it for the love of God. But I would challenge all
within free agency. They have to. Like you can't.
Oh yeah, they've got it
without getting one in free
for
agency.
sure. But I'm just saying, like, just because you prefer one corner doesn't mean that the other is going to be trash. Just like quarterbacks too, we got to be open to these guys and see how they're going to do. He's too slow. I'm seeing, I
just worry he's a press corner. I just don't know if he can play the off coverage. I really like Eric Stokes, Greg Newsome, Asante Samuel Jr., your guy Elijah Molden.
Greg Newsome, dude. I like him a lot. Stock on that is red hot. I'm a Greg Newsome guy. I think everybody's becoming a Greg Newsome guy. But Farley, I've got some problems in Glenn Hauser. I love Farley, hilarious, and Tommy Boy. So for me, man, it's the injuries, it's the back problems. I hesitate there, but I'd be happy with him, dude. I'd be happy absolutely if we got him. But that's just the point of it, man. It's okay to disagree. I know that's something that you and I talk about all the time. And
it's not personal.
It's never personal, and no one should ever take it personal. And we love this stuff so much that we've got to keep it going. But guys, it's about time for us to get out of here. I'm looking outside. It is snowing here in the Mile High City. I see Robert Caslow coming in. What about JC Horn? Absolutely. Love JC Horn. Cody Potter coming in. Is the Von Miller decision coming next week? I don't know, man. I keep checking my phone. I'm not seeing any updates. I keep looking at Kliss's stuff. No updates. Schefter, no updates. So when you guys know, we know, and it will be out there. Trust us. We have got our ear to that ground, Nick, because you're waiting. I'm waiting. I don't know when it's going to happen, buddy.
Keep on waiting. But yeah, no, that's what it's going to be, man. We'll see what happens with Von. And you talked about earlier, you talked about edge, or you talked about cornerback, tackle, quarterback, blah, blah, blah. If the Broncos move on from Von Miller, I think edge rusher is very much in the crosshairs as well, given what a valuable position it is. And while this class doesn't have the elite talent at the top, like most years do, no Chase Young, no Myles Garrett, no Von Miller, no, not even a Bradley Chubb in this class. I mean, honestly, I don't think he's an elite prospect, but he was very good. But still, that's a first-round position. And
no Ohio State quarters either, dude. Speaking of no Ohio State quarters. How about that, dude? How about that? And you know what, Nick? I'm just going to make fun of you real quick, dude. I don't need another Braxton Miller, another Troy Smith, another Terrell Pryor. I don't need any of that in my life with the Ohio State quarterbacks.
That's how everybody said the same thing about Aaron Rodgers coming out. The Tedford offense doesn't translate to the NFL. All the quarterbacks from the Tedford offense busted. Everybody was saying that about Big 12 quarterbacks with Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield. A Big 12 quarterback had never even won a playoff game.
That's a school,
before.
Not a conference. It's not a school.
I'm just saying that all it takes is one individual right? Like every single
No,
guy has
you're
their own
right. They're
individual.
different. They're different. Not only are they different players, and of course, I'm just
They run
joking.
different offenses. I mean, it's
Yeah,
totally different.
I'm getting you riled up, and I love it.
Yeah.
So, especially on the way out. But no, you're exactly right. Not yeah. There, it's all. What do we talk about? Context, dude. It's all about context, and
Yeah.
you know, it's one of those things. Not only are they different players, but they're different men. They're different human beings, and I think sometimes we get so caught up in trying to make comparisons that those things they can go by the wayside, and they shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, people are looking for trends, but that's human nature, right? That's why there's so many conspiracy theorists out there, right? Like just all these trends, blah blah blah. Well, really, sometimes it's as simple as it looks. So, speaking about simple as it looks, we'll get you out of here, Luke. I know you got to go out there and fix the road. Make sure you got it. I know snow out there. We had one snowstorm in Seattle this year, and I'll be honest, did not miss the snow that much. But we'll get you out of here, guys. That's going to do it for Mile High Insiders today. You can find me on Twitter at Nick Kendell MHH. Also, you can find Luke on Twitter at Luke Patterson LP. Also, guys, find John on Twitter as well, our producer on Twitter as well. He always sharing stuff, giving his opinions out there at John K MHH. Find us, all our contents. I've been writing articles like crazy. I think I'm up to 21 articles this month. Just a madman. Just a madman. You can check all that out at milehighhuddle.com. Luke, are you working on anything right now that's coming down the tracks?
You know, man, I am finally just about out, dude. So next week I will not be joining you guys. I will be on assignment, as they like to say in this business, right? Which really means vacation. So I'm just about checked out, man. I'm absolutely exhausted. I know that you are too. No, I've got a couple articles up right now, but as soon as I get back, man, it's free agency. So I know you guys are going to have free agency will be covered at Mile High Huddle. Don't forget, guys, that there is a podcast every single night, which makes this one of the most unique and consistent and popular platforms in all of Broncos country. Be sure to get over at milehighhuddle.com. And Nick, dude, I had fun, man. This hour goes by so fast. And happy birthday to your wife, Natalie, I believe is her name, right? So
the Ides of March.
Yeah, happy birthday to Natalie. I know it's something that we've always echoed on this show, that birthdays and holidays are very important days. And guys, I hope everybody stays safe out there. Keep your eyes glued on Twitter. Let us know when that news hits, as we will. And Nick, dude, I hope you have a good rest of your weekend, man.
Yeah, guys, also, before we get on out of here, head on over to iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and a comment. As John put it up there a second ago, like, subscribe, share. If you're joining us on YouTube, click those thumbs up. If you're joining us on Facebook, those two things are the most helpful thing you can do to keep the lights on here for this show. Really can help every single show that we have here. Like Luke just said, show every single week, but helping us helps all the shows. Also find us on Twitter at MileHighHuddle and at MHI_football pod. Everyone in the Denver area, stay safe. I know the snow's coming down. We'll see if it's as big as they say. Also, thank you guys for the happy birthday wishes to my wife as well. You guys, God bless you. We wouldn't be here without you. Go Broncos. Hopefully, we all want the same thing. We may have disagreements on the proper direction for the Broncos, but that's what makes this great, right? That's what makes this so fun. We can talk about this, and it's a good time getting there. All the hypotheticals and everything. So appreciate y'all guys, and we'll see you next week. Go Broncos.
Say goodbye to Von Miller.
Oh.